excited. It is Thursday, was it the 18th? We are 2 days away from the NHL playoffs actually starting, and I could not be more excited. Obviously, we have a little bit different setup today. This is kind of like I'm going to be breaking down a lot of the playoff games and talking about a lot of the playoffs, because I don't think I've been this excited about the playoffs in a really long time. I mean, I always get excited when I was in San Jose and the Sharks were in the playoffs and they were making their run. And I haven't had that experience in quite some time. Obviously, the Sharks had not done great, but this year, coming into this year, I had this gut feeling that we were in for a crazy season this year, and lo and behold, this has been probably the best NHL season we've had, I want to say, ever. Just by looking at the stats right now, I had to look it up again just to confirm my thoughts here on this whole thing. There are, 10 right now, potentially 11 tonight, maybe even 12. I think there's one more team. Let's see, Kings out, they won't get it. So potentially 11 teams here that have over 100 points or at least 100 points. To me, that's insane. I mean, I remember, was it the Sharks when they got the President's Trophy? I think they had 111 points one year, and the next team down was they were way off. And it's just the divide back in the day wasn't as close of a race as it is. I mean, I can't think of a time of when I saw stats like this right now, at least points wise, throughout the whole league. So to me, I had this feeling that we were gonna have a great season, and lo and behold, like I said, look at all the teams. I mean, there's a lot of teams here within 90 points, and we knew how. I mean, if you've been paying attention to the NHL, you've seen the wild card race in the East and how tight that's been for the past 3 weeks, pretty much, or I want to say even longer than that, but it's been crazy. And good on the NHL. They're putting out an amazing product right now, and I cannot wait for the playoffs to start. So today we're going to break down the Eastern Conference, because the Eastern Conference is pretty much set. Their matches are set. I mean, not pretty much, they are set. We have games coming on this Saturday. We're going to wrap up the West, the seeds and the bracket on the West. Looking at right now, we knew Winnipeg was playing Colorado. We knew Vancouver was playing Nashville. So right now we're figuring out who Edmonton's going to play and who Dallas is going to play in the first round. It's looking like Dallas might play LA, and Edmonton might play Vegas. So if that's a lock, just look at the bracket that is right now. That this is probably the best playoff matchups you can possibly think of right now. I mean, they're okay. I will say I was rooting for Detroit to make the wild card. I was actually even rooting for Pittsburgh as well. So I was there's a toss up between who to pick in that one. I do love watching Patrick Kane play. So I was I want to see him in the playoffs again. We know how that went. And, I also have a love for Philadelphia. So when Philadelphia didn't make it, they shot themselves in the foot late. We all know this. It's just it was hard to pick a team to really root for, to be honest, when it came down to that. It was entertaining as hell this past couple days. But now we got the setups, the matchups in the East, and we're going to break those down a little bit today. So, all right, for the first matchup, we're talking the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Islanders. I know I'm wearing the Islanders hat right now. Don't read too much into that. I am not super stoked to watch the Islanders play in the playoffs this year. I'm just going to be honest, man. I don't think the Islanders, in my eyes, they haven't, to me, personally to me, they haven't been the most entertaining team to watch. At all. At times they were hot, they were cold. They got Patrick Wall. Everyone's thinking, no, this is going to be great. They had a little bump in the road. They went down. I personally thought they were out when they lost to the Rangers a couple of weeks ago. But again, the race in the East was just that intense, and they earned their spot in the dance. And here they are, and they have the Carolina Hurricanes, number 2 in the East. And I think, again, I'm not really looking forward to watching this one. I know I just went on the spiel about how great the playoffs are going to be. This one doesn't seem like it has that push. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I'm wrong. I'm not excited about it. So we'll see. I mean, I am excited to watch, Sharks alumni Brent Burns. Hopefully he can get it done this year, but I think there's a lot of competition even if they get past this first round. So I will be rooting for my ex-Sharks, Pavelski, obviously playing with Dallas this year. So I'm excited to watch old players play for my old team, but I don't know. This matchup to me, it seems a little lopsided. I don't think the star power is there on the Islanders side. It's hard to match Carolina. Carolina has been money this year. Well, not just this year, but the last couple years. What I think it's going to come down to, I think it's going to come down to really the goaltending. If Carolina can get their game going and just breeze past like defense and offense of the Islanders, I think what's going to come down to is goaltending, to be perfectly honest. Varlamov and Sorokin have been like, it's been this flip-flop back and forth this whole year, or a majority of the year. So who's going to be in number one? I don't know right now. I'm looking at NHL.com right now. It's looking like it might be Varlamov, but who knows? It could be Sorokin. I don't know. You know, Patrick Wall, he knows goalies. I'm not going to say he doesn't. He's going to go with the best person, the hot hand. Last year it was Sorokin in net for the Islanders, and obviously they lost 2-4 in the season, in the playoff series. So is Patrick Wall going to go back to him, or is he going to go with Varlamov? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of whatever. Again, I don't watch the Islanders that much. I watch them when they play the Rangers. To be perfectly honest, I watch them like when they're making their push towards the end of the year. But to me, they've been a lackluster team. I don't think they have the star power to really match who they're going up against. But I could be completely wrong. I mean, they seem like right now like they're the blue collar team that's in the playoffs. There is one more team that's I feel like the blue collar team that I think has the upper hand on them on the Western side of things. But yeah, I mean, again, it's going to come down to goaltending. Is Freddie Anderson, is he going to be playoff Freddie Anderson? I don't know. You know, Freddie Anderson to me has never like performed well. So we'll see. I don't know. I think this is really going to come down again to goaltending. I think the star power is definitely in the favor of the Hurricanes. But you never know, man. It's the playoffs. Anything can happen. Everyone's starting from zero again, so it could happen. Again, Islanders fans, don't hate me. I'm not super like excited to watch you guys in the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if you guys stepped up to the plate and actually got a couple games in and actually maybe even took down the Hurricanes. I think there's going to be a couple of good upsets that are going to happen in these playoffs, and I don't want to say this is going to be it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. You know, it's just kind of how my gut feeling is. That's how good these playoffs are. I mean, it could be anybody's night. It could be anybody's series at this point. I just don't think it's going to be there for the Islanders. So we're moving on. All right, next up is this one. This one, I'm really looking forward to this one. I really almost threw on some Florida Panthers gear for this one, to be honest. But yeah, we're talking about the Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning right here. This series right here, I think, is going to be an absolute show. I mean, Tampa Bay right now, they're in the wild card number 1 spot. Honestly, they don't even really belong there, I think. I mean, it's just the way the season worked out in their conference, in their division. Let's see, where do they wind up being? Let's see, who do they... 98 points, right? So they were close to that 100-point mark. You know, so if they had gotten a couple saves here and there, and I think if Vasilevsky wasn't hurt at the beginning of the year, I think they would definitely be at the top of this list here. But you know, that's the way it went, and that's the way it's going. You know, yeah, I think this series is just going to be an absolute bloodbath. This is probably, again, I don't have enough TVs to watch all these things. I'm gonna have all my screens going all at once, pretty much. But this one is definitely going to be one I will be glued to the TV. Obviously, you know, the dynasty of the Tampa Bay Lightning having won 3 cups in like the last 7 years, or not last 7 years, but in 7 years. Florida going to the cup, never winning one. You know, I kind of feel like it's like that big brother, little brother complex that these teams got going on. I can't wait to see this. I mean, look at the matchup across the board on both these teams. One, we got Nikita Kucherov, who's probably, in my eyes, should win the MVP of the year. Vasilevsky, we know, a Vezina winning trophy goalie between the pipes for them. Stamkos, Braden Point, Victor Hedman. I mean, the list goes on. And then Anthony Duclair, the wild card Anthony Duclair. He's been money since he's joined that team. Also played for the Panthers and also played for the Sharks. Well, a short stint for the Sharks. I can't really root for him that much. But, hey, you know what? It is what it is. But, yeah, their team, you know, is the core of the players are pretty much still there. I mean, obviously they lost Yanni Gourde back in the expansion draft, but the core players are still there. They're healthy going into the playoffs right now. So, you know, being the wild card number 1 spot right now, again, I don't think they really belong there. Again, if Vasilevsky started healthy in the beginning of the year, I don't think they would be there. But, you know, it's just going to be a good matchup. Now, Florida Panthers, A little bit different story this year. I think their expectations were really high considering where they went last year, and rightfully so. And the team is held up to those standards, or the ideas of the standards that people put on them this year. Obviously, Sam Reinhart breaking out and having like a crazy year. 57 goals, and I don't think anyone in their right mind would expect Sam Reinhart to have 57 goals or even 50 goals. Insane. Obviously, Matthew Tkachuk, still always money. It wasn't that great this year. I think he only had like 26 goals this year. But, we know that what he can do in the playoffs, he pretty much was driving the bus last year in the playoffs. Trying to play with the broken sternum, and, that obviously didn't work out in the final, but that's someone they can lean on for sure. He can, he's the rat. We all know he's the rat. He gets under people's skin, and I think the team has taken on the identity of who Matthew Tkachuk as a player is. The whole team has bought into just being the rat of the league. And I think, again, having that big brother, little brother complex that I think these two teams have going on right now, going into the playoffs, I think this one is definitely going to go 7. I would be completely shocked if it didn't go 7. But again, it's the playoffs. Anything can happen. I mean, just they could be getting hot at the right time, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and just honestly smoke the Panthers, and vice versa. The Panthers could smoke Tampa. I don't know. I'm excited. Who I'm picking in this one, I think I'm gonna go with Florida again in 7. I think this is, again, it's gonna come down to a lot of different things. I think it's gonna be who's gonna capitalize most on the power play on this one. Given that the track record for the Panthers is, they're a nasty team. They play a nasty game. They can get under skins. I think there's a lot of penalties there. Potentially a lot of penalties there. And what I think it comes down to in this whole series between these two teams is going to be the power play and the penalty kill. Currently, Tampa Bay right now has the best power play in the league. And we know how Florida plays. They're a nasty team to play against. So if they start taking dumb penalties, I could see their penalty kill and Tampa's power play just being an absolute shit show for them. You don't want to go up against what looks like to be the team's or the league's MVP, Nikita Kucherov. Their power play has been money. So if I'm Florida, you want to play your game, but you don't want to take stupid penalties. And I think those two are going to be a hard or really thin line to kind of skate along, because if they do start going in the box, I think Tampa Bay is definitely going to take advantage of that. The upside to that is Sergei Bobrovsky in net for Florida. He's been pretty good this year. We know how he performed last year in the playoffs. So, you don't want to rely on your goalie too much like that, because you don't want to wear him out. If he's got to, if he's going to keep facing so many power play shots or penalty kill shots, it could gas him pretty quick. Hopefully he has enough in the tank for this first round, because if he does get past this first round, looking at who he could potentially be playing next round is no easy ticket either. I mean, it's never going to be easy in the playoffs, but it could get really interesting in this series. But if I'm picking anyone, I think I'm going to go with Florida in 7. I just like the way they play their game. I like the nastiness from those guys. But again, I could be completely wrong. If that power play starts clicking for Tampa, it would not surprise me one bit to see them get past Florida. So we're moving on. Next up, we got Boston and Toronto. We've heard and seen this story before. I really don't know what else to say about this one. Yes, Toronto has made improvements. I think they've gotten that grit they've wanted, that they've needed in the playoffs with Ryan Reeves a little bit. We've seen them play a little bit nastier. We've seen them come to aid of other players during the season. We saw what happened when Boston came, when they played Boston last time. It got a little nasty within that game. So what am I expecting from this one? Am I expecting fireworks? I'm going to be honest. I really don't expect any fireworks. I mean, I expect some things to go down. But looking at this from the outside in, not being a Boston fan, I've watched Toronto enough, and the only real reason I watched Toronto is Austin Matthews. So I do pay attention to how they're playing. I do listen to all the hockey talk that comes out of Toronto. I'm mostly talking about the Maple Leafs. I've heard enough of it, and I've seen enough of their play in the past in the playoffs to kind of have a gut feeling on where this is going to go. It is a little bit different coming into the playoffs this year. We haven't seen a Toronto team like this in quite some time. Do I think they're going to beat Boston. I think it's going to go 7. I think it can go either way. But my gut feeling is telling me they're not going to get past Boston. I think personally, if Boston just shuts down Austin Matthews, right? Just shuts him down completely. If they get under the skin of their players after they shut down Austin Matthews, I think this series is going to be pretty much over. I think the frustration could boil over for the Toronto Maple Leafs in this series. I think a lot of dumb penalties are going to come out of this. And Toronto's power or penalty kill hasn't been the greatest this year. So I could see them just, completely imploding in the playoffs. And I think, I don't want to say I think I'm wrong. I want to say I'm like 50-50. Like that could happen for these guys. Do I want to see them advance? Yeah. I don't live in that area, so I don't really care about the Toronto talk. I know I'm sure people would hate to hear Toronto fans just kind of ripping into your team or being whatever on that side. I know people are tired of it. I know I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, so I get it. But I just really think that if Boston is able to shut down Austin Matthews and get under the skin of the players, even if they get inside the heads of their goalies, who is it? Samsonov and Joseph Woll. They've been all right. I think definitely for sure the offense has carried Toronto to the position they're in right now. But am I gonna put my whole, if I had a gut feeling, if I was gonna put all my money into the Toronto Maple Leafs, then would I do it with those goalies? No, I would not. On the other hand, you're looking at Boston. They can go either way with their goalies. We know about their goalie tandem. It's been money this year. And then on top of that, you add their offensive firepower they have. And the way, when Boston plays at home in the playoffs, it is like another level. I mean, it's like that in a lot of places, but Boston is like another level. I've never been there personally, but I can tell you from looking on TV, the players feed off of that energy in the building. And especially if they're playing a rival like the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs, who we know, I think has in the past has had soft skin. If they can get under the skin of the Toronto Maple Leafs, the fans and the players, holy hell. I think this might be one of the upsets. It could go 7. Toronto could show up with a whole different mentality this year, a whole different drive. Obviously, we know they have a lot of their core players still there, so they have had experience in the playoffs. They know what it feels like. They know what it's like to lose. So, again, it can go either way for me on this one. I honestly have no real pick for this one. I don't know who it's going to be, but I can tell you if Boston is able to get under the skin of the Maple Leafs, it would not surprise me to see Boston win this one. I know Toronto fans think this is our year, this is all that. I don't buy into any of that stuff. I mean, trust me when I say this. I've seen good teams completely just lose their whole game come playoffs, especially against a rival. Again, I'm a Cowboys fan. I've seen it. It has nothing to do with hockey, but I've seen it. And if Toronto doesn't come up, show up to the games, or show up to the plate when it's time to start swinging, it's going to be game over for them. So I hope I'm wrong. That's just my take on it. We're moving on. We got the Rangers and the Capitals. Am I excited about this series? A little bit. I'm not super excited. Because I didn't think the Capitals would make it, and just the Capitals making the playoffs with how the East shaped up within the last couple days. One, incredibly shocker. Again, Philly had that spot for the longest time and just let it go, and they came back in the race, and then it was Detroit, and then it was like what the race was. For me, I'm just not excited about this one. I think I'm going to be wrong come puck drop, but the Capitals, to me, just don't have that push. I mean, again, I could be completely wrong on this, but I'm looking at an aging team in the Capitals. Obviously, Ovechkin's still there. TJ Oshie's still there. Tom Wilson's still there. You got Dylan Strome, who's there. Looking at the lineup right now, John Carlson. I don't know, man. I'm looking at this. Looking at the lineup, Matt Pacioretty is still there. Charlie Lindgren, they've been riding him pretty much I would say the second half of the year. So, and he's been playing lights out. So when I do watch the Capitals, I've been paying attention to them because I am, like everyone else, is paying attention to the OV goal race. So I've watched them a little bit more so than others, but them going up against the New York Rangers, the President's Trophy winner of this year. I've watched a lot of New York Rangers games this year. Do I think they're going to beat the Rangers? No. Could this be the upset? I think that is going to shock everyone. Yes. It would not surprise me to see the Capitals just completely flip the switch and just shut down the Rangers. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But it wouldn't surprise me. Like a lot of this stuff, it wouldn't be surprise me. That's how good the playoffs are this year. But looking, I've seen the Rangers play enough to know that they're going up against, to me, in my eyes, a little bit of an aging team, a team that's kind of on the cusp of like they weren't even going to make the playoffs, right? So I can't take that away from them that they don't deserve to be there because obviously they've punched their ticket. But do I think they're going to win? I don't think so. But who knows? Again, you never know. The New York Rangers have just been lights out pretty much anytime they've played anybody this year. So it's hard for me to say that the Capitals are going to walk away from this one. This one for sure I'll be watching. Again, I'm still watching the goal race. I still like to watch Ovechkin play. I think everyone has love for TJ Oshie after they won the cup. So it's hard to not root for that team and that guy. So I'm excited to watch them play for sure. The Rangers. Man, the Rangers they're just too good. They've been clicking all year. And you look at their lineup, and it's hard to find a hole in their lineup right now. I don't know, man. I can't even pick one, to be perfectly honest with you. I can go and look at their stats and say, give you something. But, like, right now, it's hard for me to be like, they're not going to get past the Capitals. I mean, I have a feeling they are, but it's hard for me to pick a reason why the Capitals would beat them. Maybe goaltending, but even that's like that small of a chance of hope. But who knows? We'll see. Now, the one thing that does excite me about this series, and it might not even come to fruition. I think it's going to. It's hard to like not really think about this. Is the battle between Tom Wilson and Rempe. My dog's snoring. If you guys can't hear him, he's snoozing it up right behind me. So if you hear him, my bad. But yeah, Tom Wilson, we know about Tom Wilson. We know about Rempe. It's hard for me to think that Rempe will not get absolutely pummeled by Tom Wilson. And if he does, and he breaks that, I would say, like a little bit of spirit that's building behind Rempe and the city and this tough guy mentality, again, if he can get under the skin of the players, who after Rempe, who's really going to step up to Tom Wilson? Keandre Miller? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to be like, there's that X factor there, and I'm looking at it, even says X factor. And X factor, Tom Wilson is an X factor. So, point being, if he can make a difference in the playoffs, at least in this round against the Rangers, I think the Rangers could be in for a really rude awakening. It wouldn't surprise me to see this go 7. I kind of feel like this is how the Sharks and the Kings were. I hate to bring back the Sharks again, but how the Sharks and the Kings played back in the day when the Sharks were number 1 seed and the Kings were the 8th or the wild card spot, and Kings came back and smoked us, unfortunately, for the reverse sweep. But I had this is kind of like the feeling I have for this series right now. I could be completely wrong, and I kind of hope I'm wrong because I really like watching the Rangers play, and it would not surprise me to see the Rangers win this thing completely. But, yeah, man, I'm not super excited about this series, but on the flip side, I kind of am. It's kind of hard to judge. I don't know. I would have a better feeling once the puck is dropped, but, yeah. I see this going 7. It wouldn't surprise me to see this go 5, put it that way. I would really hope and like to see a good matchup between these two teams, but again, if Tom Wilson and Rempe come to clash and Rempe doesn't step up or hold his own against Tom Wilson, I think if he does and the city wakes up in that arena and gets the players going even more, watch out. But if Tom Wilson completely shuts him down, if it comes to that, I don't think it's going to, but there's always that maybe if so chance. Even if Rip even plays, who knows if he's even going to play. I think that could be a real determining factor on how the series shapes up. So I could see it going 7. I could see it going 5. When we do the bracket, I will have a better opinion on that. But that's it for me, man. I know this is a little bit longer video than we've done in the past. I want to give my opinions on the East Coast a little bit and, you know, kind of preview what's to come. So I'm excited. Puck drops Saturday. We got some more games on Sunday. I mean, I'm just excited for the playoffs in general, man. So, yeah, I don't know. We want the cup, baby. It's coming. It's almost time. I'm excited. Yeah, man, a lot of work's going into all of this stuff this year. So I don't know. I'm just really excited for this time of year, and I hope you guys are too. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe. I know I've rambled a little bit. I've gone along. I haven't done this very long, but I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. Playoffs, man. What else could you ask for? I don't know, but that's it for me. I will catch you guys in the next one, and we're talking West.